Have you ever seen a mother this irresponsible? She couldn't even be bothered to change her daughter's diaper, so she actually let the little girl sleep in her own mess for 10 straight hours. Not until the maid showed up the next morning did someone finally bathe her and change her clothes. While the maid was patiently teaching the girl how to use the toilet, the mom complained that her daughter was making her late for a party, and just like that, she yanked the girl away mid-bathroom. The maid, Eglin, was already used to all of this. To her, the fact that the lady of the house held her child once a day already counted as being a good mother. One day, the little girl climbed onto a toilet outside all by herself, beaming as she tried to show her mom she'd learned how to use it. But instead of praise, the impatient mother grabbed her and spanked her hard. Eglin rushed over and pulled the girl into her arms, soothing her in the gentlest way.
You is calm, you is small, you is important.
Eileen knew exactly how to care for children, putting them to sleep, bathing them, holding them close during thunderstorms when they got scared. In the child's eyes, Eileen felt more like her real mother.
I'm a real mama, Eddie.
But no matter how much love she gave, she still faced constant discrimination, like cooking meals for white families, but not being allowed to touch their dishes. If she needed to taste the food, she had to use her own separate spoon. Even pouring coffee required extreme caution, just to make sure she didn't accidentally touch a white person's hand. Some employers even marked the toilet paper, just to make sure black maids weren't using their bathrooms. They even pushed for separate bathroom laws, claiming it was for the children's health, and built designated restrooms for black people. Those bathrooms were cramped and suffocating. The maids would come out drenched in sweat every single time. Yet when those wealthy white women got together, they'd put on fake smiles and ask if the maids liked their new bathrooms. And Eileen had to act grateful for it, because the second she showed any dissatisfaction, she'd be fired on the spot. This kind of racism was everywhere in the 1960s, but there was one white woman named Skeeter who was different. She had been raised by a black maid since she was little, and in her heart, she saw her as family. That maid had worked faithfully in her home for 30 years, but her mother, desperate to protect her own reputation and pressured by high society, forced her out. Before leaving, the maid gently touched the height mark Skeeter had made on the doorframe, then packed her things and left, heartbroken. Not long after that, she passed away. By the time Skeeter came back from college, it was already too late. From that moment on, she made up her mind to become a writer, to tell the stories of the injustice black maids had suffered. She asked Eileen to share her story, but how could Eileen possibly say yes?
They set my cousin Chanel's car on fire just because she went down to the voting station. I promise to be careful. It's already ain't careful, Miss Skeeter. You're not known as what's scared me the most.
More than discrimination, what she feared most was the constant threat to her life. Still, Skeeter refused to give up. She left her contact information behind, hoping Eileen would change her mind, and soon, something shifted. That day, Eileen got a call from her friend Minnie. Because of a heavy storm, she couldn't go outside to use the bathroom, so she secretly used her employer's restroom and was immediately kicked out for it. On top of that, she was falsely accused of stealing a candlestick, which made it impossible for her to find another job. Her husband took it out on her and beat her, and her daughter had to drop out of school to help support the family. After hearing all this, Eileen couldn't stay silent anymore. She invited Skeeter over, who came in disguised, and finally found the courage to tell her story. Eileen had taken care of 17 white children over the years, treating every single one like her own, and those kids loved her. One of them once asked why her skin was so dark. Eileen jokingly said it was because she drank too much coffee, and they both laughed. But when the topic turned to her own child, Eileen fell into a long silence. She had given everything to her employers, yet her only son was hit by a white man driving a car and left at the hospital entrance like he didn't matter. By the time anyone found him, it was already too late. He died in Eileen's arms. Every year on the anniversary of his death, the pain crushed her all over again. Yet white people continued to enjoy their banquets without a care. Eileen's story shook Skeeter to her core. Just as she was about to say something, Minnie suddenly burst in. After hearing Skeeter wanted to stand up for black maids, Minnie decided to tell her story too. Skeeter turned both of their stories into a report, and it quickly made headlines. The very next day, Hilly's yard was filled with toilets. For once, black folks finally let out some of their anger. Skeeter also gained her editor's support. They planned to collect more stories and turn them into a book to make a real impact. But when Eileen and Minnie asked around, almost no one dared to speak up. At the same time, racial tensions kept getting worse. Until one night, a shooting targeting black people broke out. For the safety of the white passengers, the driver forced Eileen and another black person off the bus. Eileen ran home in a panic. If anyone found out she was part of the interviews, she could be next. Minnie felt the same fear. They were terrified it would put their families in danger, but the oppression and discrimination never stopped. Another maid, Yule May, begged her employer for an advance on her pay. She was just $75 short of her child's tuition. The man of the house immediately made an excuse and walked away, leaving her to beg the lady of the house instead. But Hilly used the chance to humiliate her.
God don't give charity to those who are well and able. You need to come up with this money on your own, okay?
The maid didn't dare talk back. She just turned and walked away in silence.